Oh my god, the host just triple slapped me.
You see who's food running tonight?
56 was just sitting there making out the entire time I was trying to take
Why do we have
order.
so many servers on the floor? Did you hear about 73?
This is a work of fiction. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events, is purely coincidental.
Okay, well, you ever pee in public? I
feel like you pee in public a lot. Like, every time we go out and drink, you're like, hey, I'm going to pop a squat real quick.
So here's the thing. If I don't go wherever we are, and then we sit in the car for what, we were in here for a long time before we even started recording.
Yeah, fair.
I think that was like an hour in the car and then another hour recording. Yeah, I gotta fucking go. Like, I worked a whole shift. I don't get a lot of chances to pee.
I think I just have a lot of bathroom anxiety. I don't go to the bathroom too many places that, like, aren't my house. So for me to pop a squat, like, I will if I really need to.
Oh,
but
man.
for the most part, I don't feel like I have to
Oh,
until I get home.
I've been popping squats on trees for so long. Like,
Love that for you.
My friends and I, were out smoking pot, hanging out late at night, right? Like in my late teens and early 20s. And it's like, everything's fucking closed. Like, you can't go into Jack in the Box. You can just drive through it.
Yeah,
They're not going to let you in. Half the McDonald's, don't let you in. So it's like, hey, pull over to that park and let me, my old best friend's boyfriend used to keep toilet paper in the trunk of his car.
Just for the girls?
Just for the girls, because
that.
the guys can go anywhere. All right, well.
Next time on Rolling Silverware.
On that note.
Welcome back to Rolling Silverware. I'm Kat.
I'm Bunny.
This is our post-shift shit talk.
And it's been a week.
Yeah. There was one specific topic that you said might be a whole
I think it'll be a couple good conversations at least.
Yeah,
so
let's talk about it.
Today I had, a fairly busy day. I was doing pretty good, cranking out the tables and all. It was Saturday, it was good.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, I wrote this down because I wanted to ask you about the weird things that guests do at their table.
Ooh.
Like some of the just most like offhanded or like I'm not included in these things that are happening, right? Like not things that guests tell us or say to us or do to us. I just want to know about the weird things that people do. And what brought this on is because I had a table of 4. So mom and dad and 2 early 20s sons.
Okay.
Maybe late teens, early 20s, right? But very much can probably drive on their own,
Yeah.
And they ordered appetizers, like oysters and an appetizer, 2 appetizers, and then they ordered, the mom ordered a bowl of soup. And I was like, okay, cool. They didn't ask to split the bowl or anything, and I was like, all right, cool. I am entirely expecting to have to bring them multiple cups to share this bowl of soup, right?
Right.
So the bowl of soup gets delivered with its 1 spoon, and the mom starts eating it, and then she passes it to her one son, and he eats some, then passes it to his dad, and the dad eats some, and then what's left goes to the last son with 1 spoon. Not a new spoon. No extra spoon has been provided.
They're close.
Too close. And I caught all of this happening, and I was I'm just baffled. I'm just like, you wouldn't ask for even a new spoon? Like, I love my mom dearly, and I'll let her have like a sip off of my drink or whatever, or like, hey, take a bite off of my sandwich, that's fine. But I can promise you that if she asks me, do you want some of this soup? I'm going to get my own spoon.
Yeah, silverware is a bit weird for some reason.
Entirely in every person's mouth at the and it's a thick, creamy soup that you have to like
at some point it's got to water down. And
but your mouth is like wiping across the entirety of the spoon. There is no,
Yeah.
And I'm like, from mom to son, I was like, okay, like he's gonna finish off the bowl of soup, like, all right. And then once I saw it with the dad, I'm like, all right, hold on. No, but as far as I'm aware, and then I did definitely make sure later as I cleared the plates, there was not a second or third spoon at this table.
Yeah, like, did they ask somebody else
right,
for
did
a
somebody
spoon?
else,
Yep.
or did they even get up and go looking for spoons? Like, I could totally see that. But wow. I was very taken aback at that.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've always seen kids as just like germ fest fucking
Sure.
2005. Like, they're gross,
Yeah.
right? Like, kids are disgusting. My kid specifically is always fucking sick.
Yeah.
And he has been ever since he was like 2, just
Right.
constant sniffles and coughs and everything else.
Sure, kids are
So,
gross.
exactly. There's been a moment, where it's like, I have something and I'm like, oh, the minute his mouth touches it, I'm like, that's yours. Like, you
Right.
have that, you know what I mean?
If
That's
I
all
have
you.
an ice cream cone, this is now your ice cream cone,
Yes.
I for sure have been eating like something like a bowl of cereal or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've given my son a bite because he's sitting there. He's like, I want to bite, I want to bite, I want to bite. Okay, you can have a bite. My son is also 6 years old.
Yeah.
And this is when he was younger, like 4 or 3 or 2. It was like, yeah, here, okay, fruit of my loins, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But when he's 20,
I
we will not be sharing utensils. And I don't know if this is because, okay, so my dad is like really weird about sharing anything. Like, I'll cut a sandwich in half, and if it doesn't look like a perfectly clean cut, he'll ask me like, did you eat off of this side? And I'm always like, no, Dad, I didn't fucking eat off of that side. And like, he will never take a drink off of anybody else's drink. Like, this has been my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, even when I was 7 and 8, Dad's like, oh, let me get a new straw, to try this drink that you have or whatever. Or like, if I have something at home and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to finish that, you can have it. He's like, well, did you eat off of it? And it's like, yeah, it's a fucking poke bowl, dude. Like, I ate with my fork. I didn't leave my fork in it and stir it all around. But I did, in fact, stick the fork in my mouth and stick it back in the bowl. And he's like, I don't want it. So it's like, Dad's really weird about it. But I definitely draw the line at sharing a spoon for one bowl of soup. And then I felt worse for the last kid.
Yeah,
Like,
he had everybody's
he
saliva in his mouth.
And they just happily, like, there was no concern for new utensils, like none whatsoever. Just like, oh, you're done with that? Oh, no. Like, I baffled. And
Where I was going with that is I don't typically like sharing with
Right.
my kid. I will every once in a while, but if he's had something, typically like, that's yours, right?
Yeah.
You've got it from here on out. But I do always find it funny sometimes, and it's not all the time, but every once in a while, I'll like look at my husband and I'm like, hey, try this drink or try this, da, da, da. And he goes, ugh, no, your mouth's been on that. Or like, oh, did you? And he gets so weird about it. And I'll look at him dead in the face and I'm like, you eat my pussy.
Yeah.
Like, your tongue.
your dick's been in my mouth, bro. Like, I don't know if you know this.
Maybe that's why he doesn't want to share things. But I'll look
Your
at him and be
dick.
like,
You'd suck it if you could. Shut up.
I'll look at him and be like, your tongue was in my asshole 24 hours ago.
Maybe you could try this drink from my straw.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe
it's
you could
fine.
take the same sip. Like, we're gonna be fine. I think we're
couldn't
gonna be
imagine
okay.
if a boyfriend, because I have never had this happen, but if a boyfriend ever looked at me like I had a bottle of soda, right?
Yeah.
Where your whole mouth kind of touches that bottle.
Mhm.
If I had a boyfriend look at me and be like, oh, that's okay, you drank off of it. It's like, what? And earlier you drank off of me. Like, what are you
Exactly.
talking about? Oh, I'll do a quick. Love my mom dearly so much. Hi, Mom. I know
Yeah,
you listen.
she listens.
And we love
She's a
you
fan.
so much.
Our number one lover.
She's on it every single Sunday. But she does have this tendency to, when she goes to drink off of a straw, like her tongue hits the straw first. It's like the best way. Mom, I love you so
Yeah.
much. I'm so sorry. But so it's only in my like later teens and early 20s that I realized she did this.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes she hates this so much. When she asks for some of my drink, if it has a straw, I take my straw. And I hand her the cup. And it's like, well, drink off of the cup.
Anytime somebody offers me their drink, I rarely ever drink from the straw. I'll typically drink from the rim of the cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense. Like, now, obviously, you and I are very close, and it doesn't matter. Here, drink my drink. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to share anything with you.
Yeah.
Ever, all the time. Again, sorry, Mom. Love you so much.
But
Best mom ever.
If you've ever noticed, I never drink from the straw of your cup. I always drink from the rim of your cup. If I'm going to take a sip of something that
Sure.
you're drinking, I take a sip from the rim.
Well, and it's like I've passed drinks around to friends or whatever, like, hey, try
Mhm.
this, because we all got different cocktails or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, everybody tried, okay, whatever. Even if it has a straw or it doesn't have a straw, like, I don't freak out about the fact that my lip might touch over where somebody else's lip. But, like,
If I'm sharing a drink with you, I'd probably kiss you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would make out with you in a heartbeat
Right.
anyway, so it's like, yeah,
So-
fuck it, whatever.
yeah,
I
that's
don't care.
like the line of it. But it's like, I'm not going to make out with my mom. And I'm also,
Okay, fair.
and I'm not going to make out with my brother, who we're now sharing this soup spoon with. So I just, like, it hit me in that moment watching this table, and I'm just like, People do weird shit. Like
Yeah.
when they don't think I'm watching, and I'm always watching. So
It's like our job. I always find that so funny when people, they'll like make offhanded comments to each other while I'm at
Right.
a terminal. So I'm like kind of near, but not like super close. But they'll make something like,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, like happy birthday. Sorry we missed it last week or whatever. And
Yeah.
then I'll bring out a dessert and they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, my entire job is to eavesdrop on
Yeah.
you. Or especially behind the bar. That was a big one.
Oh,
People
yeah.
were always shocked, like, oh my God, did you hear us talking? And I'm like, you're sitting
Yeah,
right in
you're
front of me while I'm
right
doing
here.
dishes.
Yeah,
What did you
I
think?
heard every word.
What did you think I was doing?
Right.
Not listening to your conversation? Of
I,
course
in
I
fact,
am.
can't turn my ears off.
I'm a busybody. Like, of course I'm fucking listening
Yeah.
to you.
Or like when you bring a box to somebody who like told, this happened to me tonight. The woman at the table, she wasn't quite done with her food, but she was very full. And she's telling her husband, I'm just so full. I'm on the opposite end of this table, on the big round table. I'm at the opposite end of the table, but I hear her tell her husband, I'm so full, I'm gonna need a box. And she didn't tell me.
But you heard it, so you bring a box.
Right,
of
so I
course.
had to leave to go and get something else for the table anyways. I think it was a coffee. So I get the coffee and I bring her a box. And I set the box down next to her. I go, here's a box for you. Oh my God, thank you so much. I was going to ask you for a box. It's like, yeah, I know. I fucking heard you.
Yeah.
That's my job.
I was 5 feet away from you.
I anticipate your needs, and especially when you speak them out loud.
Yeah. Shocking how that works.
Right. That set, like, the whole interaction, I'm just like, wow, like, what? That's a lot of sharing. That's so much sharing.
Yeah, I don't know if have anything like super memorable to talk about, like in regards to people doing weird shit at the tables.
Oh my God.
Because I mean, people do weird shit like to me, right?
Right.
Like I've had earlier today, I had a lady look at me and she ordered the lobster roll sandwich that we have, and I was like, "Great. Do you want it with drawn butter? Or do you want it like
Traditional style,
with the mayonnaise?" And she's like, "What? I don't. What do you mean butter?" And I was like, well, we can prepare it 2 different ways, warm with butter or cold with mayonnaise. And her husband looks at me and he goes, lobster rolls are served cold. And I was like, okay.
Okay, so you want
And
traditional.
sometimes we have 2 different ways that we can prepare it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you just want traditional. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in for
We're
you.
also not hanging on the Upper East Coast where we make everything like that's the only way it exists, like relax.
Right,
Okay, we're in California. Like,
Exactly.
chill out. We do things a little different here.
Half the time when people order the lobster roll and they're very much expecting like, the cold with mayonnaise and this
Right.
and that, and I say like, oh, we serve it a different way, they might think like, ooh, I do like my lobster with drawn butter.
warm.
That's how I
Yeah.
typically eat lobster.
A lot
But
of
I
people
was-
expect a lobster sandwich to be warm too, which throws me. I mean, I'd say that the butter one gets ordered
10 times more.
10 times more
Yeah.
than the everybody always asks me, well, what do you like? I like the traditional. I
Yeah,
think
same.
that's how a lobster roll should be prepared. And then sometimes people order it and sometimes they hate it. And it's like, all right, then we'll switch it out. Like, it's
Yeah.
not a big deal. But
Yeah, for
anyways,
sure. It's
so
I have like stuff like that, right? Like
Right.
really weird interactions with people, like, and you had somebody pray at you last
Oh,
week,
God,
so that was a moment for you. So that's definitely like I've had weird interactions
Right.
with guests,
No,
but
so-
people doing weird shit at a table when they don't think I'm like looking or paying attention. I mean, maybe the only thing I could think of is maybe the regulars that used to come in that all of the bartenders hated. And they live in the
apartments here.
yeah, in the apartments that are attached to the complex that we work in, and they came in all the time, and they would make out right in front of
aggressively
like,
make out, not just like a
aggressively.
kiss here or there.
No, and
but
they
like
are
full tongue down throats, just
They-
making out at the bar top.
they are in their 50s. Like this
Yeah.
is not like a young couple. They are both in their 50s. I think that they would like do a bunch of coke and just come in and get like
They
a
used
bunch
to
of
do
drinks.
drugs in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That was an issue. They would pass baggies between them and then go to the bathroom. And at one point I was just like, can you not?
But he used to come in and like take his shoes off and
Right.
pick at his feet.
Yeah. Oh God.
So that's and that's
Yeah, that
Talk
was
about a fun. I
wild.
would rather have a small dog running around and pissing in every corner of my
Yeah.
restaurant as a health hazard than this man picking at his
Picking
feet
at
and
his
then
feet.
touching our bar glasses
Yeah.
to drink off of. Like,
Ugh.
so that, like, that it's not that he did that thinking no one's, noticing
No,
or
but
paying
that's an
attention.
at the table kind of
But
thing.
that
That's
isn't
what he
at the
did.
table. It was very weird, and they were always rude, and they never tipped, and they
Right.
were awful.
Yeah,
and
they
then
made it worse every time.
They
Like,
really
they
did.
Really did.
And then they did a turnaround. They turned it
they're
around.
they're much calmer and seemingly more collected individuals.
Yeah,
now.
well, they got 86 from one of the restaurants
Yeah.
that
In
one
the-
of the
in the
other
pavilion,
restaurants.
yeah,
They got
that's-
86, and ever since then they've been like way more chill.
Sure.
And now every time I see them, we walk up, hey, how's it going?
Oh,
Like
no,
we
they
approach them now.
They love
approach
us, and
yeah.
like I still don't love serving them. Like when I'm if and when I'm behind the bar and I get caught with them, just because there is very much this air of entitlement with them.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah,
And they feel like they own the place, and it's like, no, we wish we could have 86'd you.
yeah.
No, I mean they're much better now. But one other instance that this will never leave my brain. Like I've been at this so many years, and this happened at Black Angus. So this woman she had a Diet Coke, and then she ordered the prime rib dinner, and she got it with broccoli and with a baked potato. And the baked potato had butter, sour cream, and chives, right?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, as it goes, like totally normal. So I drop the food. She's got her bread and her Diet Coke and her food, and she's like, I am so set.
God, that black bread, I miss it.
Oh,
I
the
miss
molasses
the
bread?
squaw bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was molasses. It wasn't
What?
squaw.
I don't even care. It was so
Well,
fucking
squaw bread
good.
is good in its own right. Like, it's so good. But anyways, so she's got everything that she could possibly need, right? And so I pop over and I was like, hey, how is everything? Do you need anything else? She goes, I just need some sugar. And I was like, oh, like Splenda or Sweet and Low? Like, I'm like, is your Diet Coke not sweet enough? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that
And she's
aspartame's
like,
pretty strong. What are you
right?
doing?
And she's like, no, just like regular white sugar. And I'm like, okay. So I go and get a sugar caddy, and it has like 5 or 6
Yeah,
sugar
different
packets.
kinds,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and it's got just 5 or 6 of the regular table, like everyday granulated sugar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I set it down, and I walk away to we had this like wall that separated the main dining and where we got drinks and everything. And I just tucked myself right a little bit behind that wall, because what the fuck is the sugar for?
I need answers.
I need to know. I'm like recounting it in my head. I'm like, what's at our table? Like, it's different when somebody orders a water with lemon and then they want sugar, and it's like, okay, you're gonna make like some
You're gonna make your own lemonade.
yeah,
like
your
a
own like
fucking
pathetic
asshole.
lemonade,
Yeah.
like whatever. But no, she didn't have anything that made sense to have sugar with. And so I tuck myself over, and I'm just peeping at her like the whole time. And
Yeah,
she
100%.
gets 2 sugar packets out of that caddy and like shakes them down and rips them open and puts them on her baked potato.
Ew.
Butter, sour cream, and chives already live on this potato and have made a home, and she is dousing it with 2 packets
That's a
of granulated sugar.
Lot of sugar.
Baffled doesn't even begin to say. This was years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago now, and I'll never forget. And so I told everyone that passed me, I'm like, you ever put sugar on a baked potato? Like, what? And so I went over, she ate everything. Like, scraped that potato clean. She ate all of her food, every other part of it. She drank all of her Coke, and then she
Weird.
even got a dessert to go, and she left, right? But I wanted to look at her and just go, a sugar potato? Sugar and starch? Like, I've never,
No.
to this day and before this time, like, this is my Christ event. This is my before and after the sugar potatoes. Like, BSP and ASP is how I live my serving career from here on out. But I wanted to ask her so badly, like, what?
That is weird.
What was that? And like, weird combinations of food is one thing, you know? Like, if you you modify something in a weird way, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that sounds different. Like, sometimes people add our macadamia crust to a fish that I don't think sounds great, you know?
Yeah.
But hey, that's your life, and you're living it, and you're
Yeah,
paying for it,
however
and
you-
I don't
yeah.
care. Somebody put the macadamia crust on the swordfish the other day. I was
Ew,
like,
that's weird.
odd. And I checked, and I said, swordfish? Was that so? Okay, all right. You heard that? I heard that. I'm gonna go ring that in. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, or distinctly flavored meat-like
Yeah,
fish. You wanna
very
put a crust
robust fish. You're gonna
That's-
put a sweet covered nut crust. I don't know. They ate all of it. I guess they loved it. But yeah, I will never, for the rest of my life, you know, I'm in mid-30s, and I will never forget the sugar potato. And then for like a couple weeks after the incident, I considered trying it. I was like,
I kind of
do
like.
I
I'm
do
thinking
I
about it
try
right now.
Is this like a thing?
The only thing that trips me up is the fact that there was already butter, sour cream, and chives on it.
Right.
Because I could kind of understand sugar on a potato that had something that could have been a little bit sweeter, right? I don't know what you would put on a
I was like,
potato.
can you? You can kind of
I
understand.
mean, I just say you could
I
put,
can't.
you could put anything on a fucking potato.
This is
like,
true. Potatoes are very
Yeah,
multi-purposeful.
with jack of potatoes, you could do whatever the fuck you want,
Yeah,
right? Like you could
fair.
put anything in there. So if you put something that was a little bit on the sweeter side and some sugar, then it's like, okay, maybe.
Maybe,
But-
I guess. No.
But to have the butter, sour cream, and chives, which is very savory, on
Yeah.
top of a potato that's very savory, to this just being like, sugar is bonkers.
A lot of it, and I like enough of it that it would still taste granulated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this sugar
It's
didn't
not like
get,
it melt anywhere.
Yeah, it didn't get mixed in deep enough, I think, to not taste like granules of sugar.
That's
and
weird.
she ate that potato clean, like absolutely clean to the husk. And
Ugh.
in the air of people being weird, right? And like just don't get it. So our restaurant often when I get there is boiling hot.
Yeah.
Like they
I hate it.
refuse to turn on the air conditioning. And I made the comment today because we're all sweating. Like I have encountered 4 servers other than myself that have sweat drips forming this, like around 6 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah.
And so I went to management and I said, hey, can we please crank up that air a little bit? Like we are running around in our, full jeans, full long sleeve shirts and everything. And you have multiple of your employees sweating. So now we're sweating at tables,
Yeah.
and some of the guys sweat a lot. Like it's much more apparent
gross.
when the men are sweating at their table and then they're grabbing like Bev naps to wipe off. And it's just the whole thing's gross, right?
Yeah.
Can we fix this? I'd like to fix this. And so the manager was like, yeah, this elderly table at the other end had asked if we could turn down the AC because she's freezing. And so I did cut
have
it.
blankets that we can give guests that sit outside. Give her a
Thank
fucking
you.
blanket.
Thank you. Also my thought. But so she said that she had cut the AC for a moment and she said she's going to let her sit for a little bit, get her food, and then once she's eating, she's going to turn the air back on. So she admitted to cutting the main dining air for a little bit.
For the entire restaurant, she
For
cut
the
air
main part of the restaurant.
for one
For
old lady that
Yes.
she could have given a blanket to and said, I'm
Yes.
so sorry that you're cold. Here's
So-
a fucking blanket.
She goes, the manager looks at me and she made a comment about like, normally we can't run the AC too cold because everything's fucking falling apart.
Yeah,
And we
it
have
starts raining
leaks.
inside.
Yeah, we now have rain instead of just cold air. And I looked at her and I went, maybe this isn't the cost we cut. Maybe keeping your servers like going and being able to like breathe isn't the cost that you cut as we go into the summer months.
You know, shit, it's about to get real hot.
So it reminded me of when I used to work at a different restaurant and of so many, like we kept it fairly chill in this restaurant. Like the temperature was low and I loved it. I never broke a sweat and it was fantastic. But multiple times throughout my serving career, people have asked me, can you turn that air down? And I don't. And I
but you always say, yeah, of
won't.
course, and then you don't.
Right. And I tell them, yeah, let me get right on that. And then sometimes even touch back to the table and be like, we just cranked that off for a bit. And I swear to you, the placebo effect of telling somebody that the air
Yes.
has been turned off is stronger than any other placebo effect I know. Because every single time that I have told somebody, sorry, guests out there, that I have told somebody, yeah, we cut that. And give it a couple of minutes, it should even out and you shouldn't be so cold. Every single time I've said that to a table, they come back to me with,
I feel
it's
great,
so
thank
much
you."
better. Yes,
Yeah,
it's so much better in here. Thank you so much
100%.
for that. I haven't touched anything.
No.
One of the restaurants I used to work at, we didn't even have access to the air.
I went out back
We-
and smoked for 2 seconds and then
We
came back.
we didn't control it at that location. It was controlled by corporate
Jesus.
in Ohio. So no, they set the temperature according to how hot it was in your district, right? Or in your area that day. That's how they set the air. And it was always fantastic. I always thought it was fantastic. I would always tell the guests, like,
I got you.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
Let me cut that
absolutely.
off. Oh my God, I feel so much better. Thank you so much. Now, I don't know if it's the alcohol hitting their system or the food that helps warm them up a little bit, because then your body's starting to break down that food and everything. I don't know what it is, but like every single fucking time it was, oh my God, thank you so much. And it's like, yeah, you're very welcome. For nothing. I've done nothing.
Like I said, I went out back and smoked.
Yeah.
For 2 seconds, and then
I
came
just
back
left
to
your
table.
view for
Yeah.
long enough for you to think that maybe I spoke to somebody. I
Yeah.
didn't.
I spoke to
I
nobody.
didn't, and I won't. I'm burning up all of the time. Also, I am up and running. Please understand, yes, you are here for a nice meal, and yes, you should be comfortable, but also bring a fucking jacket. Like, it's not that hard. Anytime I
Yeah.
go out to a restaurant or to the movies, I'm bringing a jacket.
Yep.
In the off chance that I'm cold. But I'm certainly not going to ask an entire business to change the
Cut their
temperature
AC. That's crazy.
for me and me alone.
I've
On
had,
a warm summer afternoon.
I've had guests specifically ask, like, can we move tables because we're
Sure.
just under the vent?
Absolutely.
And it's very
I've done that.
Yeah,
I've
sure.
absolutely moved because my hair was blowing in a vent one time. And I'm like, wow, my eyes are drying out. I'd really like to be somewhere else. And I've hopped 2 tables over, you know,
Yep.
if there was one available. Absolutely. Or my boyfriend's very nice and he'll just swap me spots on the table. He's like, hey, it's not cold over here, whatever.
Must be nice.
He's very sweet.
My partner would be like, sucks to suck. I'm very
You
comfortable.
should have brought goggles. What were you thinking?
I love my partner. He's a kind man.
Yeah, he's great. He's never going to hear this. Shut up.
Yeah, he doesn't fucking listen because he's an asshole.
Oh, I hope he hears this while you're editing.
That's the only time he ever hears the podcast is when he listens to me edit. On another topic of
Yeah.
people being fucking weird,
I love this.
let's chat about for a second being carded as a regular. So we definitely have that instance where somebody, like, people come in, and I don't know if this is just because of the location that we're in is very kind of like entitled and
Right.
not quite upper crust, but they want to be
Right.
so bad. So people will come in and it's like they'll order a drink and it's like, yeah, can I see your ID? And they go, ugh, really? And then they were born in 2001. And
Right.
it's like, bitch, I need you to step so far back.
Step it
Like,
back.
Who the
You
fuck?
barely are able to order this drink.
Exactly. Like, don't look at me with attitude because I asked for your ID
Right.
when you just turned fucking
Sure.
21. Like, your card is still vertical.
Yeah,
Shut the fuck up.
I had that happen to me the other day.
Yes.
This guy gave me, or this kid gave me a little bit of a scoff when I asked for, because his girlfriend asked first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I carded her and I took hers. It's vertical.
Yep.
And so I'm just like, okay, and I'm checking all the dates, right? You got to make sure. I
Yep.
hand it back to her and I get to him and it's like, yeah, you've got half of a beard going. That's fine. But he ordered a beer and I went, okay, can I see your ID? And he's like, okay. And he pulls out still vertical. And I'm like, motherfucker, you haven't even renewed your license since you turned 21.
Shut up.
Reel it back.
Yeah.
Reel it all the way back. You
We-
gotta relax.
We
Also,
absolutely
I
get that.
loved being carded. Like, that was like, I'll prove it. You
Yeah.
want me to prove it? Fuck yeah, here you go, you know?
So both of us now are in our mid to late 30s, and every once in a while, I definitely would say that we do get carded
Yeah,
in some
sure.
places because, especially when I'm done the fuck up, I will get carded when I go
Sure.
places getting a drink or getting my vapes because
Yeah.
here in California, you have to be 21 to
Right.
buy nicotine. And I go to this vape shop every 2 weeks. Every
All
2
the
weeks,
time.
I have been in this vape shop. And every person, I started going to this vape shop because the owner was a regular of mine at this bar that we currently work at.
And told
When-
you about the deals, right?
Yeah, when I was
Yeah, yeah.
bartending here, he used to come in all the time and he would get the ahi pokey and he would get a Tito's and soda. And we were just on the topic of vapes. And he goes, yeah, I own this vape shop. I sell them for cheaper than what you're currently buying. And I was like, fucking sick. And he's
Hell
like,
yeah.
I'll give you even more of a discount. Just let them know that you know me. And he gave me his name. And I was like, fucking awesome.
Great.
So I was getting great deals on vapes.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I've been going to this vape shop. And I go in the other day, this kid, I haven't seen him in a while, but he looks at me, he goes, oh, hey, how's it been? How was your vacation? Like,
You know personal details
talked-
about me.
I've spoken very personally to these people.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I put in my order. Can I get 2 vapes? And he goes, yeah, can I see your ID? I was taken so far aback.
You know my son's name, but you need to see my ID? Like,
Right. I'm like, and it was probably one of the only times I was like, are you for real? And I felt bad because I understand this is a process. They probably have,
Sure.
cameras that the people are checking.
Right. You gotta
100%.
hand me
I
something. Yeah.
get it. But I had lost my driver's license. So
But also, I physically can't.
I did not have an ID. And I've been going to this place for years.
Right.
And this kid knew about the vacation that I took not that long
Recently.
ago and asked me about it immediately before being like, yeah, can I see your ID? And I'm like, dog, you've seen it so many times. Like, I get it. I cannot stress enough
I
how much
actually don't have it.
I don't want to say this, but really? Like, can maybe
Really?
this one time, can we not? And thankfully, another worker that was there was just like, she's good, man. Like,
Yeah,
don't,
she's
like,
fine.
you're fine. Don't worry about it. And I know it's always this one kid. He asks me for it every other time. All the rest of them are like, yeah, here's your shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they
So
have
he's
seen my
just
ID.
following the
He's
rules
following
that
the
he
rules,
has to.
and I have nothing against this guy whatsoever, but it was just that moment where I was like, fuck, my driver's license is not on me. If that kid's there,
And nowhere to be
I'm
found.
gonna be kind of fucked.
Right.
And I walk in and it's him, and I'm like, ooh, maybe I can Karen my way out of this. Like, I felt bad. I felt bad. But at the end of the day, I am a middle-aged white woman, and sometimes I need to use that to my advantage.
Right.
Because I was just like, really?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are
You really need that right now?
Are you positive? I don't know. Oh, I hated
You
that.
could probably quote my address to me
At this point, yeah, like absolutely. You could tell me what my driver's license picture looks like. You could probably know
Right.
it off the top and just tell me
Oh
like
my
what
God.
that looks like. And yeah, so that was a really interesting concept for me, and I tried to remember if I've ever carded a regular, and I don't think I ever have, because once
No.
I've seen your ID and I've seen you
if
multiple
we've had
times,
multiple conversations, I'm
You
not
could.
going to card you again. Because it's if they look under 30, or if I fucking know the person, I know they're
Right.
over 21, then that's fine.
you come in every week and I've seen your ID twice, I'm not gonna ask
Yeah.
for it the third time. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, this is Tracy. She's great.
Right.
She comes in every week. This is her husband, Bob.
Yeah.
And they have 2 kids.
Yeah.
They have, property in
They
Texas
always
that they go
order
to
this,
sometimes.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I'm not going to card you.
I'm not going to card you anymore.
Yeah, I have 2. First and foremost, this was like a year ago, all right? So I'm 34 or 33 at best. And the kitchen manager, I went to take a break, and I was supervising, like stepping in, helping supervising, and I had to take a break because the boots I was wearing were wearing away at my shins.
Ooh,
And so
ouch.
I needed to go get socks, and there's a Kohl's near us. So I was like, hey, we're not busy. I'm going to take my break right now, because I was the only front of house person at the time. I was like, I'm going to take my break right now. I need to go get socks. And he goes, yeah, absolutely. Go do that. Can you also go get me a pack of cigarettes? And I was like, yeah, for sure. So he handed me a $20 bill. And I fuck off, right? I go and get my socks, and I head over to the mobile station on the corner, and I walk in, like I park, and I walk in, and I order his American Spirits, and this guy looks at me, and I'm in full professional garb. Like, I have
Yes.
a blazer on, and a nice shirt, and like my trouser pants, and some nice boots, and I look very much 33 or 34. Like, this wasn't, like, I do look young for my age, but in this moment, I looked very professional and very done up, and this very young guy looks at me and goes, can I see your ID? And I go, really? For cigarettes? Because I had forgotten that it's now 21. And I'm like, you don't think I'm 18?
Yeah.
Like, thank you? Like, of course I handed it over. It wasn't a problem at all. But as I'm pulling it out, I just look up and go, really? Like, I don't look old enough to smoke? Like, that's alarming.
Yeah.
But I handed it right over. And then years and years and years ago, when me and everybody from Claim Jumper used to go across the street to the bar, right? It was our local bar. A lot of the industry people went there. Like, it was the industry little hole in the wall shithole bar.
It was the industry bar for that area.
Right,
Yeah.
and I loved it dearly, and it holds a special place in my heart. But I knew these bartenders like backwards. I knew their personal lives. I knew everything. And there was one bartender in particular that didn't work all that often. And I came in with 2 of my coworkers that didn't go all that often. And so they went up to the bar to order a round of beers for everybody, like a pitcher. And she looks at them and goes, I need to see her ID. And I hear this, and I look over, and I'm like, really, Stacy? Not her name, but I just looked at her. I was like, really? Also, my ID had expired about 3 days ago. So I had not gotten my new one in yet. It had already been ordered, and it was on its way to me. But if I hand you my current driver's license, you're going to tell me no. Which I also think is kind of such a like ludicrous idea that like yesterday I was 33, but now all of a sudden I'm 18. Like, what?
Yeah.
Just because it's expired? Like, it baffles me, because it's like, wait a minute. Before that expiration date, I was good to drink, but now 3 days later I'm not, like, especially when I'm into I was 27, like,
Yeah.
it's not even like I was 21 yesterday and now you're like, oh, I don't know, can you drink,
I think a lot of that just has to do with people once their ID's expired, and they just kind of like give it to a younger sibling that maybe isn't
Sure.
old enough to drink, or they pass it off to
No, and
somebody.
it could have been stolen or whatever else, right?
Yeah.
But this is very much my driver's license.
Yeah,
but
and
I
also
did-
you knew her name and everything.
Yeah,
about her,
and
yeah.
like, and she had seen me in there 101 times. Like, now I'm with 2 people that she probably doesn't know as well as she knows me. But for her to say, like, I need to
single
see your
you
IDs,
out,
and
yeah.
well, because they had showed theirs already, and they're like, I need to see hers already. And then at that time, the bar back was behind the bar and goes, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah.
And he was like, she's here every day. Like, she's an alcoholic. She has a problem. Let her drink. And so it wasn't an issue at all. But I just like, same as you, you know, I had that moment of like, please don't do this to me right now.
Fuck, yeah.
To which later I found out that she actually just didn't like me because she had gone on a date or two with my ex before I started dating him.
Oh.
And I did not know that. Because I didn't know her all that well. Like I said, she didn't work all that often. So I think she just took that moment to like want to call me out, which she didn't know my license was expired. She just probably wanted to, you know,
be a bitch.
Yeah, just to annoy me for a moment for no reason fucking whatsoever. But yeah, I found out later through one of the other bartenders, they're like, oh no, Stacey hates you. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, she was dating your ex before you guys started dating. I'm like, he said they went on a date. And they were like, yeah, it was like a date or two, like to a coffee shop or something.
Jesus.
And then him and I started talking because I was a regular of the bar. And then we became very serious very quickly and then had a kid together. And like, but I guess she held that grudge for like a good 6 months or something into our relationship. And I was dating him at that time, but I just wasn't with him that day.
Yeah.
You know, after they told me that, I did see a lot of like, she was so flirty with him and very bubbly and very
it all came up to the surface.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then that was years and years ago. And now her and I are friends on Facebook and Instagram, and she's got, you know, she's been with her new man for a while, another regular that we all know and love. It's all the past is in the past, right? And obviously now I'm broken up from my ex, and I'm like, hell, you should have taken him. Like,
yeah.
You dodged a bullet. Like, you're super lucky. I'm so like,
why
you
didn't
should
you
be
try harder?
Me. You should have been like, thank you so much. But yeah, so that was.
I remember when I was 16, right? So there was a gas station where the like high schoolers kind of knew if you were a smoker, because at the time it was, you know, early 2000s.
Right, it was 18.
Yeah, it was 18
Right.
that you had to, you know, be able to buy cigarettes. But also people, I wouldn't say it was common for teenagers to smoke because we had DARE and we had all of the programs that told us like, you're going to get cancer.
Some of my friends smoked, some of them didn't. Like,
it wasn't
split.
It wasn't quite like the 80s, right, where everyone was smoking. But there was this one gas station.
Yeah, with the cigarette machines.
Yeah, there was this one gas station where it was like, okay, if you're under 18, like this guy's never gonna fucking cart. Like he doesn't care.
Right.
So from 16 till I was like 19, I would just go to this gas station.
Right.
Because also my boyfriend at the time lived across the street from this gas station. So I was like, perfect. It's so close to me. It's right there. I turned 18 and maybe 6 months later, I go to buy cigarettes. And the same guy that has been selling me cigarettes for 2 years looks at me and he goes, I need to see your ID. And I was like, dog, I've been buying cigarettes here for 2 years. And he goes, I need to see your ID. And I was like, great. So I hand him my ID. He sees that I just turned 18. And he goes, you've been selling cigarettes here you've been buying them here for 2 years? And I was like, yeah, you've never carded me. Yeah, and I was like, it's not my fault.
That's on you.
Yeah, and I was like, it's not my fault. You didn't care about your job.
You're like, I didn't tell the cops, but I'm telling you.
But as of right now, I am of legal age, and you need to
fucking sell me these cigarettes. Thank you so much.
I couldn't show my face there again after that. I mean,
oh my God.
And at that point, I was 18. I could buy them anywhere the fuck I wanted. I didn't have to be there. So
cigarettes were never something that we had to like find a place to buy because it was either like my brother would buy them for me, or for a little period of time, my dad bought them for us because he was also smoking. So he would just buy an extra pack and give it to me and my friend. Like
my bio dad bought
solid
me
parenting, father, solid. You know, because we were 16. You know, and like also sorry, Mom. I'm sure you didn't know that. Shout out.
Shout out, Mom.
There was, however, a liquor store where my best friend at the time was very mature looking, you know, and so at 17 or even 18, she was able to walk into this liquor store, and that guy loved her. Like, she was gorgeous head to toe. Like, everyone envied her or wanted her or just wanted to be like, she's model gorgeous, right? Mm-hmm. But she was also just looked mature. So walking in there for the first time, I think just tried it out. Like, she was just like, I'm gonna try to grab this wine cooler or whatever, and he was just like, yeah, dope, it's yours. And so we went there all the time, and she was the only one that went inside. None of us went inside.
No,
I couldn't
out.
walk in looking like a 10-year-old, you know, like that wasn't gonna fly.
Yeah.
But no, she would just walk in and bat her little eyelashes, and it was, yeah, you want that 30 rack? That's yours. Like, it didn't matter. So many times. Like, we wouldn't even be going to a party near that liquor store. We would just drive drive there first because it meant that she was able to go in and get whatever we need, like handles of vodka or fucking whatever. It didn't matter. And yeah, she would do, you know, like we'd be driving there and she's putting on like a little bit of extra makeup to really do it up, you know? But yeah, different times for when.
Shit, I started smoking when I was 12.
Oh, Jesus.
And I know, again, great parenting. My bio dad used to buy me cigarettes too. And I had a liquor store across the street from where I was living. And the way that they had set it up, they had like a little, almost like a display case right next to the register of just cigarettes. And me and my friend would walk in.
Already know where this is going.
Yeah, me and my friend would walk in and we'd go towards the back where they had like soda, like cans of soda.
Yeah.
And we would specifically look for something that they didn't have, whether it be like Dr. Pepper or whatever.
Sure.
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Sunkist, something.
Yeah, so like, do you have cherry Diet Dr. Pepper? Like, it didn't even matter if it didn't exist. Like, we were specifically looking for something that they didn't have.
Right.
And then we'd walk back and be like, oh, we were just looking for so-and-so. Do you guys, you guys don't sell that anymore? Or like, what's going on? And for so long, these guys, they had to have known. They would just be like, oh, let me check. And then they would leave the register.
Right.
And we would just... we just sneak a pack or two off of that that little carousel.
So close to the front.
And I'm so sure that they had cameras. There's no way that they
have,
didn't.
Right? Cameras existed then.
And still, every other week or so, we'd walk in and just be like, oh, do you have so-and-so in the back?
You're like, wow, we never have the sodas that these girls want.
And for even, a good 6 months to a year, we pulled that. And
even better, they probably
then
ordered that soda hoping that they would have it for you, and you come in and you ask for a different fucking soda every time. And they're like, fuck, we had the cherry Dr. Pepper. And now they want the grape Sunkist. Like, okay, let me go fucking look.
And I'm like, why are these bitches asking for Surge? This isn't the Midwest.
Do you have Tab?
Tab in a can specifically?
Yeah, the pink one.
Do you have RC Cola? Diet, please. I'm watching my figure at 13.
All right. Well, I'm ready to check out. You ready to check out?
I'm absolutely ready to check out. Let's get this weekend over with.
Oh, please. All right.
Bye.
Bye.